Being in an environment where you feel like you don't belong can be one of the most painful sensations that you can feel. From my experience, this has definitely proven to be true, and the sad part is that for so long I tried to fight off this feeling by using my introversion as an excuse to not pursue a place where I felt like I belonged. Honestly, since I arrived in Vegas, I have lacked any sort of meaning outside of my business. I'd spend almost all my days alone in my room working, and whether you're an introvert or not, this is gonna take a toll on your mental health. The worst part is, I feel like I kind of did this to myself. I failed to push myself to find any sort of community or friend group here, and I had several excuses for doing this. One of them was the pandemic, which in my defense is a pretty good excuse because it definitely is harder right now to make friends or to try to build or go into a community. And my second excuse was, like I said, being an introvert. I thought that because I'm an introvert, I work better alone. I'm better off when I'm alone all the time, but I am better off alone most of the time, but I still need that human interaction. And not only that, but I started to consider it a problem that I wanted to find a community or a group of friends. You know, look at the strongest people in the world, the mentally toughest people in the world, the monks, they all spend incredible amount of periods alone. They don't need anyone but themselves, and isn't that what I'm supposed to be? Aren't I the self-help guy? But as I started to go through these excuses and not put in any effort while I was here, after a couple months, it really started to feel like something was off. I wasn't totally fulfilled. I'm now doing everything I ever dreamed of doing with my life 3 years ago, and yet I still wasn't happy. And I searched my mind for a solution until it finally made sense. I felt like I didn't belong here in Vegas because I had no support system. I had no one to turn to. Humans are social creatures, and in order to survive and thrive, we need human connection. I can handle being alone, trust me, I like being alone, but everyone has that need for some type of connection in their life, and if you don't get that, you'll feel like you don't belong in this world. I feel as though no matter where I go, I will never be truly fulfilled if I do not have that support group of people who help lift me up and people that I can help lift up through having a community. And so now I was posed with the question, how do I get through knowing that I have no community here for the next month that I'm going to be staying here? And what about the people who are watching right now who have never had any sort of community or have never felt like they've ever belonged? You might believe that you don't belong anywhere, or that you're never going to make a solid, strong group of friends because you're outlandish or you do things outside of the norm and you care about things that most people just don't seem to care about at all. When people are having their usual small talk or they're talking about sports or politics or the news or something like that, you can't relate at all because you don't care about these trivial things. You wonder if there's anyone out there actually looking for strong, deep relationships that are rooted in authenticity and without judgment, or just someone or some people that like the same shit as you when everyone around you or on the internet seems to like the complete opposite. I can tell you right now, those people are very rare, but they do exist and they always will. Even in a world where superficiality and attention grows more and more valuable, there will always be people who are trying to connect on a spiritual level, or whatever level you're trying to find. It doesn't have to be spiritual. The irony about what I'm talking about in this video is that this house that I'm in for the next month is in a gated community. So I want to try and give my advice to two scenarios. One in which you are able to find a community, and the other one in which you are actually stuck alone and there is no way to find that friend group. Although that scenario is very rare, and you might just be kidding yourself that, oh, you can't find people, it's too hard, your social anxiety is stopping you. But to be honest, you might be part of the first scenario when you think you're part of the second. So if you are in a situation where you are able to do this, able to find a community or a friend group, the best advice that I can give you is just to put yourself out there. The first thing you can do is cold approaching. This means going up to random people or strangers and just initiating some type of small talk with them. This might seem like the scariest thing that you could ever do, and you could be super fearful of getting rejected. But trust me that going up to someone and possibly embarrassing yourself is the last thing that you need to worry about. You need to get in the habit of initiating small talk, and it has to be trained like a muscle, whereas the more you train it consistently, it's gonna grow and it's gonna become easier. But if you stop doing it, even if you've been doing it for a really long time, it's gonna go away. That ability to talk to strangers is going to go away. So just practice going up to people and initiating small talk and getting better at being sociable. This sort of practice will prepare you for when you are in a situation where you actually find people, a community where you're like, I want to become genuine friends with them. It might be hard to connect with them, even though you guys have a lot in common, but if you have that social anxiety still, it's still gonna be a problem. So after that, then we go to like clubs or events that we are interested in and that we think will find those types of people. I'm sure that if you look up events in your area, that you can find the group that you're looking for and a very welcoming community. Now with COVID and all, it can definitely be harder or even completely impossible to find these events in real life. So for that case, we need to go to online. I'm sure most of us in the past year have felt like we've been lacking some sort of community due to COVID and just felt like we haven't belonged in this world because we haven't gotten that happiness and human connection that we usually do. And for those cases, trying to find an online community in which you can talk with like-minded people is absolutely gonna help you. To give you an example of how this affected me, when I was having all those really terrible thoughts about feeling like I don't belong here, I started to really let those negative thoughts consume me. But then suddenly I was pulled out of this hole based on this one realization that I have you guys. I have thousands of people talking with me and supporting me and engaging on my stuff that are a lot like me, and like I said, they're just supporting the hell out of what I'm doing. And the Discord that I created a couple months back has made me feel that even more intensely. Even though I don't know any of you guys, or pretty much all you guys in person, it gave me the hope and the clarity and the support that I needed. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a big following online in order to feel that reassurance from a community, but what you can find online are forums, are discords like I was talking about, and other online communities. Of course, my Discord is always open and we are always there to support anyone with whatever they're going through and help them grow and succeed as a person. But I'm sure there's other Discords out there. If you just search the Discord servers, or if you go on places like Reddit, there are communities and subreddits that are really just there to talk about things that you really enjoy talking about. Even Facebook groups, if you're like 55 years old and you're still on Facebook. And who knows with all this stuff, because eventually you might just meet up with some of these people that you've met in these online communities and develop strong, lasting relationships in real life. Never think that because you're an introvert or because everyone online is telling you to be alone all the time and that you need to master that you feel like you shouldn't want to be a part of something bigger than yourself. You can fucking watch a bunch of these fucking videos that are like,
spend all of your time alone. Be a monk. That's how you become mentally strong.
yes, spend a lot of your time alone to get to know yourself more and love yourself more. But again, that little, even a little bit of human interaction, knowing you're part of a community and feeling like you belong, you need that, okay? You're human. You will find the people that are growing and evolving at the same pace as you, and that might require you to not hang out with the same people that gave you reassurance before. But I promise you, if you put yourself out there and get yourself on these communities, you will find a place where you feel like you belong, because everybody should feel that way, and you do belong somewhere. Big thank you to all the patrons on this channel at patreon.com/Cole Hastings is where you can join. That's where you can get exclusive content and one-on-one advice from me, depending on what tier that you pledge. The link is in the description to that, and that is the end of this video. I love you guys so much. Thanks for all the continued support, making me feel like I belong, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.